All right. If anyone's in there, can you tell me if the audio is okay? We got 40 seconds before we start, so enjoy the first 40 seconds of my video that I let go today. Oh, it's corny when your own joke makes you laugh. Okay. There are going to be people, I hope there are people anyway, who want to start a series at Cowan Lake that are going to be joining us. That's going to be an in-person event that I'm going to, or a series that I'm going to try and run. It's going to incorporate the bank, boat, and kayak world, hopefully. And so we're going to hustle through this as quick as possible. So we're going to go through our standings, and then we're going to go into the weekend tournament. So what we're doing for the biggest KaC is any fish caught in tournament competition can be submitted to the biggest KaC board, kayak and cats. So KaC is the initials, is the acronym. So far, we have Dan in first with 48 inches. I'm in second with 25 inches. That has 11 and a half months to go. I'm assuming we'll probably have 15 to 20 anglers with 40-plus inch fish there, so that's pretty cool. The apps, in my experience so far, submitting fish to multiple leaderboards is really easy. I didn't actually submit any fish to any leaderboard except for one, and all my leaderboards got covered. And you can select and unselect which ones you want to submit. So right now, Dan's leading that. Dan is representing Green Machine Outdoors. On YouTube, I'm representing myself. Clint Seeger, he's entered. He's representing Circle Hook Productions. Ryan Bortz on YouTube is Ryan Bortz Blue Collar Fishing. There is one angler, I believe, who hasn't claimed, maybe Justin too. I can't remember. But I can't get a hold of John Dietz. If anybody knows John Dietz, if you can get a hold of him, I sent him, who I thought he was on Facebook, a message saying, hey, just to let you know, we moved over from Tourney X onto this platform. So if someone can reach out to him and ask him to contact me, that'd be great. Next, the Channel Cat Challenge for January. A whopping 2 people joined this. It's me versus Clint Seeger. He's beating me by a half inch right now. I'm at 49 inches. He's at 49 and a half. Let's just take a look at one of his fish. 25 and a half inches. All right, over to the month-long. Dan Scheida, I believe. Dan Scheida is winning this. So our month-long tournament. Oh, the Channel Cat tournament. That is your 4 biggest Channel Cats with a minimum inch of 24 inches. The month-long, the regular month-long is 7 fish total. Right now, Dan Scheida is leading that with 225.75 inches. I bagged my limit in one trip. Could not believe it. With 153.25 inches. And Clint Seeger is currently sitting in third with 49.5 inches. But again, we're only halfway through the month. And there are 4 total anglers. It's Justin Schuerman, Clint, myself, and Dan. I don't think I'm missing anything for the month long. The 2-day Big 4 tournament this weekend. It's going to be your 4 biggest fish over 2 days, starting midnight Saturday, running through midnight Sunday. There are currently 4 anglers signed up. Your typical me, Dan Scheida, Ryan, and Dan. All right, I have to change that to Clint Seeger. Dan got on there twice by accident. Ryan, Dan, Kayak Mike, Clint Seeger. Those are the 4 of us. So the way this is running, the identifier will be available tomorrow at 7:30. The captain's meeting today, which typically would be tomorrow. And where are we at? Yeah, there's nothing special to say. It's 2 days, 48 hours, 4 biggest fish. It's a $40 entry, $10 to the big fish. So $10 straight, and then after fees, it's roughly $26, $27 an angler that goes into the pot. Let's see here. I'll just go to the estimated payout structure just so people can see it. and get it on camera. But I'm going to get off of Facebook here in a second. That way. Oh. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, nothing bad was said, so that can stay in the video. And that wraps up KaC. Oh, no. Last thing about kayak and cats. Hold on. This is actually something I was really excited to talk about. And two things. We have an in-person tournament this weekend at Taylorsville Lake. It's 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. this Saturday. I believe it's your 5 biggest fish. Don't quote me, but I think that's what it is. And then on next month, our tournament structures are month-long. We have a regular month-long, 7 fish. Our our challenge tournament, we do a challenge tournament every month. That's going to be a 33-inch maximum slot tournament. 5 fish. No fish can be larger than 33 or 32 inches. I think that's a lot of fun. I really think that's going to bring the competition together. Slot tournaments where it's 1 fish over and X amount of fish under, the big dogs still technically have the advantage. Those people who can still go out there and catch a 45-inch plus technically still have the advantage. Anyone can go out and catch a 45-inch fish once a month, if they put themselves in the prime position in their state. But it's not as likely for everybody. But if you have a maximum slot, that really pulls the field together, and literally anyone can win at that point. And that idea, I apologize, was either given to me by Stephen Murray or Clinton Payne. I was in a group chat with those two, and that's where the idea came from. It came from one of them, so thank you for that idea. I thought it was a really good idea. And also next month, we're doing state tournaments. Kentucky right now is going to have their own state, and it's either going to be Ohio versus Texas or North versus South. There's been enough interest from other states, but not enough to get them their own state. So I think we'll just do like a North versus South. And with the young man who just went missing, we might make that a charity tournament, just depending on how what happens with that case. So the North versus South, there wouldn't be a lot of incentive as far as prize money. It's more of a bragging rights thing anyway. So if we were to have a charity tournament next month, that would be the perfect tournament to do it in. It's not like, even if you won that tournament, the max you could win back is like, if we made the entry fee $30, the max you could win back in your pocket would be like $57 anyway. So a $27 plus. So if we do a charity tournament, that's going to be the one we do the charity tournament on. But yeah, that wraps it up for all the kayak and cat stuff I have. Over to Cowan Lake. All right, so this Cowan Lake series that we're going to do. The link, I posted a link out into the Facebook page. This seems a little hefty, but as I was typing, I realized there's a lot. It's not just kayakers. The majority of kayakers are already aware of a lot of the rules. We're going to have to bend and adjust a lot of rules to make it bank, boat, and kayak friendly. And the very first thing I'm going to address is length versus weight competition scoring. So the example I'm going to use 2 examples. National League Baseball, American League Baseball. They're both playing baseball, 2 completely separate rules. The only thing that matters is at the end of the day, when they're playing each other, they agree to a set of rules. They're still playing baseball. Same thing with competition fishing. If everyone in that competition agrees to whatever that set of rules are, it doesn't matter if you are dealing with weight or length. Everyone agreed to that set of rules. No one's forcing you to be in the tournament. So I really don't understand why some people are so against length, but I would be willing to bet it's because that's the world they lived in. Their whole life was weight. So anything new that comes around, they immediately reject. And the only argument to it is 2 25-inch fish are not the same, which I agree. They're not. One's going to weigh more than the other. So the pros to your length measuring are you get to release them immediately. You don't have to hold on to them. More time fishing. So you can show up whenever you want. You don't have to, like when we have these tournaments, I don't care when you show up. It's going to be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can show up at noon. It doesn't matter to me. There's no check-in. It's all online. There's no check-in. But there's more time fishing because there's no weigh-in. You don't have to stop fishing to get to somewhere to go weigh your fish. There's no line at the weigh-in. In our pandemic right now, which is frustrating, you don't have to worry about any kind of social distancing because everything's online. There's no line at a launch because, like I said before, you can show up at any time and launch. The only catch is you can't have lines in the water from midnight to 8 a.m., fishing time, and then you can't have lines in the water from 6 p.m. on. And it's an auto call. I've done a couple bolt tournaments now where they stick like the plug through the fish's mouth to and they write down like the size of the fish. And as you keep on catching fish, you gotta take fish, pop it out of their mouth, figure it out. There's none of that. The online does all that for you. So if you measure a 26-inch fish and your smallest fish is 21, it'll automatically bump that small one off for you and replace it. And now you don't have to. All that thinking's gone. The con to the length measure or the length competition is that, not like I said, not all fish are equal. However, the reason I think Cowan Lake is perfect for this is because I've caught thousands of channel cats in Southwest Ohio. They scale really well length to weight. Your 25-inch channel cat is going to be in that 4 to 5 pound range almost always. Your 30-inch channel cat is almost always going to be 7 to 9 pounds, roughly, give or take. Obviously, some can be a lot bigger, some can be a lot smaller, depending on their health. But generally speaking, they're really good at scaling length to weight. There are flatheads in this lake, but that will not be the majority of what's caught in these tournaments. The majority of what's caught in these tournaments is going to be channel cats. And there's no blues. You can eat. There would be more argument on the weight if there were blue cats, because you can literally catch a 30-inch blue with a belly like a basketball and it could weigh 20 pounds. Or you could catch a 30-inch blue in the same exact hole and it's 7 pounds. So the argument for weight is more so in blue cat waters, but when it's channel cat waters, mainly, you can bring the field together because they scale really well. Me personally, I don't care what the competition is. This isn't my argument that length is better. This is my argument that joining our competition, it's not dumb that we're using length. It's bringing everyone together. That's all we're doing. Because I'm pro weight and I'm pro length. Like, I'll be going to Grand Lake St. Mary's and fishing in their weight tournament out of my kayak. I'll be bringing fish back in my kayak and they'll be weighing them. So I'm not anti or pro either. We're just going to be using length because it makes the most sense to have boaters, kayakers, and bank fishermen all compete on the same level. What else? Measuring fish is easy. There's 3 measuring boards we're going to accept: catch, musky bumper, Rapala 60-inch. Those are in the group. You can go and click them. 2 are more expensive. Musky bumper, catch is more expensive. I suggest musky bumper, no affiliation. I don't think catch is as good of a product. Rapala is the worst one, but it's the cheapest one, and you can mount it onto a piece of wood, but it's harder for the judges to see. Same thing with the catch board. Sometimes those numbers get a little fuzzy on the catch board. No one ever has, administratively or as an angler, no one ever has any issues with the musky bumper. Although I'm not going to say get one or the other. I just personally think the musky bumper is the best option out there. And measuring is really easy. You lay the fish on its right side, so the left eye is facing up, put its nose on the bump, stretch him as far as you can. The only thing you can't be doing is you can't be altering his length during the photo. So, like, you can't be pinching his tail during the photo. You can't be squeezing him so he stretches out a little farther during the photo. You could be holding him in place, but, just put him on the board, take a picture, and then you submit it to the TMS, the Tournament Management System online. And there'll be an identifier the night before we come out with a couple letters or numbers. You write that on a piece of paper or on your hand, and then you make sure it's in the picture. And when you submit it, the picture goes through and all of your coordinates go through. So it tells me where you caught it, when you took the picture. That way I can make sure you're on the lake, etc. Which is another reason why Cowan Lake, I think, is going to be perfect for this. Another argument against online is the coordinates. The lake is small enough, coordinates don't matter. If I was smack dab in the middle of the lake, I can literally see everyone fishing unless you're behind Austin Island. So coordinates don't really matter. We're all going to know where we're all fishing anyway. And I'm going to be the only one who has access to coordinates. So if anyone has an issue with coordinates being leaked, I'm your guy. But everyone's going to see. I post everything. Everyone's going to see where I'm fishing, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be dragging the lake in one of the thirds, the shallow third, the middle third that's in between the shallow third and the deep third, and then the deep third. I'll be dragging one of those thirds every single time. So if you're worried about coordinates being given away, they're only going to be with me, and I don't give anyone cords. The TMS system is right here, right there. It's called Fishing Chaos. I'm going to make a fake tournament for the Cowan Lake group that anyone can join for free. Go and grab any picture you want, submit it. Go figure out the ins and outs to the app. The great thing about Fishing Chaos, it's really cheap. Even if you get charged the full fee, it's right around $5 on a $50 entry. A little less. No, actually, it's a little less. I think it's like $4 on a $50 entry. And some people might say, well, we don't want any fees whatsoever. But then you lose your judging system, and you have to hire a polygraph. A polygraph is extremely expensive. I would much rather take a $3 to $5 hit per entry than hire a polygraph, because this system will do everything that the polygraph does for us. Unless you're some kind of phone whiz, I guarantee you're not going to figure out how to change your GPS coordinates, timestamp, etc. when you submit that picture. So that's why we use the online tournament system, and that's why there is a fee. They can't run this on the internet and /app for free. So I will happily pay a $3.50 to $5 fee on a $50 entry, as opposed to having to hire a polygraph. Everyone I've talked to in the boat world, they've all said that they have to hire polygraphs or no one takes the tournament seriously. And I looked up the price of polygraphers. It's not cheap. Like a cheap one's like $250. So if you charge $60 a person and 10 boats show up, that's $600 entry. Actually, knock off 100 of that, because that's probably $10 big fish. $500 entry, $250 to the polygraph. Half the pot's gone to a polygraph. I wouldn't be fishing that tournament for money. I'd be fishing that tournament for bragging rights. So let's see here, what else? And you can submit multiple pictures of the same fish. So in this, there's a challenge system. Let's say another angler doesn't think you followed all the rules in submitting a fish. They can challenge the photo, but you can submit multiple fish to this platform. What else? There's going to be a cutoff on the submissions. The tournament ends at 6, but you can submit fish up to 6:30. That's in the very bottom of the tournament description. Go ahead and read that. The way that works is, if you're having an issue with fish, what you want to do is message me on Facebook, post your issue to the group. That way everyone in the group knows what's going on, so there's no second guessing or questioning at the end. And that will tell you, or that will I need a drink of water. My throat's starting to hurt me. The cutoff is 6, so the timestamp on your picture cannot be past 6 o'clock, but you can submit up to 6:30, and that's because sometimes there are cell phone issues, etc., towards the end of the tournament. Same thing with weighing a fish at the end of a tournament. Lines out at whatever time it is. You drive to the weigh-in, and then you go weigh your fish. It's not always all at the same time. If you have any issues, message me, post it to the group. That way everyone knows you're having issues. Sandbagging is highly shunned upon in our scene. If you're having issues with a fish at 6:20 and I see that picture was taken at 9, I'm going to be much less inclined to help you out than if that picture was taken at 5:55 and you're struggling to get it submitted at 6:15. We don't want people, it's not cute. It's not funny to hold your fish. I'm going to hold all my fish until the last moment and then submit 150 inches worth of fish. Haha. You're just being a douchebag. And if that offends you, I'm sorry. I don't want you in my scene. We don't encourage sandbagging. We actually have rules on the KaC and CAT side that will disqualify fish that aren't submitted in a timely fashion based on their timestamp. So if a lot of the boaters will be new to this, so if they're struggling in the first couple tournaments, that's completely fine. But if we have anybody who habitually will catch a bunch of fish in the morning and then submit everything at the end, I will address it and say, hey, look, we don't want that happening. There's no rules against you doing that, but I don't want that happening. And then if they continue to do it, I'm just going to ban them from our scene. And that's another nice thing about doing everything online and electronically. If there's any kind of issues or drama that anyone presents, I just block them from my YouTube, I block them from the Facebook page, and I block them from being able to enter tournaments. I kind of come off as a jerk the last 30 seconds, but uh, that's the one thing that irritates everyone in this scene the most is the sandbagging. So I had to be a little more stern than usual with all that other stuff. The legal boards, I already talked about that. I already talked about why Cowan. If anyone has a YouTube that fishes with us, I will happily promote you guys. I will toss you into all of our description. Any video you make about or make during a competition, we'll throw in there. We're not going to start it as a team event. Reason being, bank and kayakers. So a boat can have up to 2 people max. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do 2 people max in a boat. If you're going to run 4 rods, you have to have 2 individual entries. You can't have 4 rods on one entry. It's if you want 4 rods out, you're at an advantage over everyone else to begin with. So you're going to have 2 individual entries. But in our world, everything is based on the honor system. So we're going to rely on you to not lie about who catches what at the end of the day. Also, it's kind of fun if you're on the same boat with somebody and you're competing against them. You got your 2 rods, they got their 2 rods. Down the road, will we do team events? Sure. But we're going to start off by not doing team events. So if you're going to have multiple people on a boat and you only are going to submit 1 entry, it's 2 rod max for you. That's to keep the playing field even, kayak, boat, and bank. Because if I'm fishing from a kayak, I'm not having someone else on my boat with me, and we're not rocking 4 rods. But I'm not going to say we'll never do a team event, because I would love to do a team event where me and my best friend Mark are out there fishing on Cowan. We're fishing 2 completely opposite sides of the lake, but we're on a team, and we're submitting fish to the same leaderboard. That sounds like a lot of fun, but that's not how we're going to start the scene. Boat requirements, 10 horsepower on this lake. You are 100% responsible for being in line with the standards at this lake. I don't know anything about the boats. I'm just being perfectly honest. Don't ask me any questions about the boats and what's legal or not. I know it's a 10 horsepower lake. I've seen gas on there, on like John boats and stuff. But the majority of boats I've ever seen on there are all trolling motor, which brings me to another reason why that lake is amazing for doing this type of tournament, boat, kayak, and bank. There's no advantage boat to kayak. If a kayak has a motor and if a boat has a motor, they can literally cover the same exact amount of ground on this body of water. It's big enough to where we won't be dealing with we won't be worried about fishing over each other's shoulders, but it's small enough to where there's literally no advantage to boat and kayak because of the horsepower limit that they already put on the lake. So that's another reason I would love to do this, to bring the boat and kayak world together. Another great thing about the online event, we don't need a permit. I don't have to call anybody in the city of Wilmington, I believe, to get permission to do this. They can't stop us from showing up to fish. We're not gathering together anywhere. We're not utilizing any of their stuff. We're doing this online, and we're just a bunch of random guys showing up to fish. There's nothing official. If you're having a legitimate boat tournament where there's gatherings beforehand and weigh-ins and stuff afterhand, you have to get a permit. You don't need permits for online events. There's no permits needed for something like this. You just show up, you fish, you go home. It's just like any other day of fishing, except there's consequences on the fish that you catch. And that's all I got. I'm going to scroll through the questions here really quick, or the chat here really quick, and see if there's any questions. Who's out in the water in the 20s? I'm out in the water in the 20s. You get the band hammer. Does Fishing Chaos have a live shareable leaderboard? There's not a live shareable leaderboard yet. I haven't emailed them about that. There are a handful of Fishing Chaos aesthetic things that I don't like that I have emailed them. and that other anglers have told me about. And anytime, if there's anything on the Fishing Chaos app people don't like, just tell me. And if there's enough people who tell me they dislike something, I send them an email. I try and not email them about my personal nitpicky stuff. But if I see on like a forum, or if I really dislike something and other people dislike it too, I let them know. So yeah, that's that. Can I buy 2 entries and run 4 routes from my kayak? You cannot do that, Ryan, because you would go to jail. No, you wouldn't go to jail, but you would get a fine. So Ohio has a 2-rod limit in state. The way Ohio works is if you are on the Ohio River or if you're in Lake Erie, you can have 3 rods a person. If you're anywhere in state, not in a county, touching one of those bodies of water, it's 2 rods only. I get in this, I don't want to say argument, because Ohio has worded this really poorly in their book. The way it reads in the book is Ohio River and Lake Erie only. The way the law actually reads is any body of water in any county touching Lake Erie or Ohio River. So you can be in East Fork rocking 3 rods a person. East Fork Lake is not anywhere near the Ohio River, but it's in a county touching the Ohio River. And that's 100% fact. I have it in an email from the ODNR. So if anyone ever says I'm wrong, I'm just like, you can think I'm wrong. I'll continue fishing with 3 poles and never get fined. So, what else? All right, that should be it. This probably ran a little longer. No, 25 minutes. That's not terrible. I was actually worried this was going to run like a half hour. I hope that clears some questions up. I hope we get a ton of people to show up for the Cowan Lake series. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to bring all 3 worlds together. If I sounded like a jerk at all during this, I do apologize. There are some things we have to be stern about and, lay the foundation. This way there's no questions going forward. But also, this is literally more about having fun with the world of catfishing and competition catfishing than it really is for the competition part or aspect itself. And it's also going to get you guys more money. We're charging $60 for a tournament, $50 to the entry, $10 to the big fish, and roughly of that $50 entry, $45 to $47 of that entry goes to the prize pot. Not a lot of tournaments can say that. A lot of tournaments have a lot more fees. I don't charge any administration fees. Whatever comes into our bank goes right back out to you guys, minus the Fishing Chaos fees itself. So, yep, I hope everyone enjoyed, and best of luck, everyone, in the rest of this month's tournaments.